Hello, this is part 2 of the Soul Calibur 5 Final Fantasy XIII unboxing video. I already talked about the Soul Calibur 5 Collector's Edition. I unboxed it. Now we're going to get down to Final Fantasy XIII-2. And just like last time, I'm going to need to cut the sucker open. Let's see what we got right here. That works. This is pretty cool right here. Alright, let me zoom in on this for a moment. I don't know if you can see the artwork on this cover right here. Take a look. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more so you can actually see it better. There we go. Let's open this up a little bit. Oh yeah, now this is pretty good right here. Now here's some of the artwork scenes for the game right here. And here we got the Final Fantasy XIII-2 game disc, and over here a 4-disc collector's edition of the official soundtrack for the game. Now I would assume this one is the complete soundtrack for the game. Let's see what we got here. Just an art book, just a little booklet for the soundtrack listing, and the instruction booklet, and a code for Square Enix members. Here's some concept art for the game. And now, see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. I'm also just going to show a few pages. And this is pretty freaking awesome, if I must say for myself. Now let's have a look at the strategy guide for the minute. The XIII-2 Collector's Edition Guide. From what I'm seeing right here, right on the top, looks like they got some kind of bookmark tab right here, which is pretty nifty. Compared to the last strategy guide, they didn't have that. But that, let's see if I can get to its page for a minute. This will definitely come in handy if I need to bookmark my pages, since I always had that problem with the first strategy guide. Excellent. Everything is fully in detail, just like the first guide just was. I definitely cannot wait to actually play this game. But from what I can actually tell this time around, XIII-2, who in my personal opinion is going to be shorter than XIII-1. And since I just got that feeling it's not going to be as long. But since I know I don't really talk about much for this stuff, but why don't we get down to some of my other stuff right here. this right here is a collection of Final Fantasy and stuff I've accumulated over the time. Now I'm going to be strictly honest. The very first Final Fantasy game I ever played was Final Fantasy XIII, not the original for the NES, which is what I got right here, actually. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of you could be saying, and you didn't play the original Final Fantasy for the NES? That's pretty much a shocker. Well, reason being was I did not get into Final Fantasy until kind of very late. Like, I think around the time 12 came out. And so, well, that's pretty much an ouch on my end. I acquired this one a little bit ago. There's actually a store around on my neck of the wood. It sells used games and stuff, and I actually found this for about $10. So I figured, hey, why not? I'll pick it up. I do want to get my hands on the PlayStation and portable version of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 whenever I can, since I want to play more of these games. Since from what I've seen, Final Fantasy, very interesting game. And speaking of Final Fantasy 7, and here it is right here. This is the original copy right here, and I've made sure to keep this thing in very good condition. Final Fantasy 8 and 9, I didn't think I'd actually find these this easy. I actually found that's at a store called Allied Record Exchange for about $14. The original of Final Fantasy 8, and for that much. Can you believe it? I unfortunately have not even played this game yet. 7 I have beaten, I just haven't gotten around to 8 yet. And probably a lot of you are going to be mad at me for that one. But when you got a lot of games to play, the original 9 I actually found at a different store for about $11.99. I'm actually very surprised I found this in that cheaper price ranging. And since all three of these things put together on eBay, from what I've seen, jeez, that's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Although 7 I did get off eBay, however. And that and the original strategy guide, which is in this pile right here somewhere. And since I also got that, I also got the Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie. One for the DVD and one for the PSP, since I actually loved it that much. I gotta admit though, when this first came, well, I didn't actually watch it when it very first came out. How I came to watch this was one of my co-workers at work let me borrow his copy, and I loved it immediately. I watched it enough times to where I had to get my own copy. And PlayStation and portable version, so I did. This is actually not bad. Now, years later, after her Advent Children came out, I heard about a Blu-ray release version. And for this, Final Fantasy VII and Advent Children. But this one is actually called Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Incomplete. It's since why they call it that, as this, however, has additional footage, and some footage is a little bit altered. But I gotta admit, not actually half bad. But before this version actually came out, and in Japan there was this version, and right here. This was the first version I actually got before this came out. Well, nifty thing about this is, now normally you would think this is Japanese only, but ironically, however, there is the English dub on this thing, and so it was actually pretty awesome too. Now, since this is also the Advent Children Incomplete Limited Edition, it also came bundled with the Final Fantasy XIII trial version, which basically it's just a demo version of Final Fantasy XIII in Japan. This, however, is region free, which was great for me when I played it on the PlayStation 3. I didn't really mind that it was in Japanese. I just only cared about how it played, and it did not disappoint me. Although, from what I've actually heard from a few people, not that many people were actually pleased with 13's battle system. Don't know why. Hey, I think it's pretty awesome. And right here is the Crisis Core Final Fantasy XIII game for the PlayStation and portable. I have this plus 2 unopened copies right here. And now you may be wondering, why the heck do I have 2 unopened copies? Well, here's what I'm actually thinking. Possibly years from now, this game is possibly going to be a good collector's item in the future. And so I figured, since I got this, get these 2. So in case possibly it does become a rare collector's item. And I also got a soundtrack to the game as well. An open copy and an unopened copy. Yeah, I'm that crazy for unopened stuff, and if they become collector's items. So sue me. As far as other games I've got right here, is Dissidia Final Fantasy for the PlayStation and portable. Well, I have its sequel of Dissidia Duodecim Final Fantasy. I unfortunately have not completed all of this just yet. Final Fantasy X, which I have not even done a lot of it, and I've now been hearing that this game is going to be ported to the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita in high definition, so I'm going to wait to actually play it then. Here is the collector's edition of Final Fantasy XII, which has the game and a bonus disc right here. Have not unfortunately played this just yet. Sorry, when I get other games to play, I get other games to play. And my copy of Final Fantasy XIII. I gotta admit, when I actually played through this game, they actually packed a lot of crap into this game. Compared to the PlayStation, the Xbox 360 version, which has 3 discs, you gotta love the power of a Blu-ray disc when it comes to PlayStation. And here's all my strategy guide. It's right here. I have the Final Fantasy VII and guide, essential for anyone who needs to play Final Fantasy VII. And the Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII guide, I nicely done right here. And the Final Fantasy XII guide. From what I can tell, this is the collector's edition and guide, if I'm not mistaken. And I found this at a store for about $8, so I picked it up. And my Final Fantasy XIII collector's edition guide. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you have been noticing some of my stuff has been signed by some of the voice actors that I've voiced in the game. This one right here, who voiced this, was Michael Skinter Nicholas, who in this game voices Orphan, the final boss. And my last strategy guide is Dissidia Final Fantasy. I do have the Duodecim strategy guide, but right now a friend of mine is borrowing that. As far as other stuff I have, this is a poster of Final Fantasy XIII. This right here contains an unopened copy of that limited edition and Advent Children Complete I told you about just a few minutes ago. Voila! Still sealed and everything. Like I said, I'm not crazy for collector's items. And I really had to get this. That concludes this video. I got some games to play, so later.